Now we're about a week in to the fermentation primary. Again, the beer's still in the first 6.5 gallon fermenter. Fermentation has pretty much come to a standstill. Occasionally there is a bubble about every 4 or 5 minutes, but it's pretty slow. So what we're going to do now is transfer to a secondary fermenter that gets all this dead yeast cells that you can see that have settled out to the bottom, the hops and everything else. That just gets the beer away from those. That way you don't get any off flavors while the beer continues to ferment. Going to a secondary fermenter will also allow the beer to clarify. So what you're going to want to do is you want to get a secondary fermenter. This one is only 5 gallons compared to the primary fermenter being 6.5 gallons. That way it has less headspace of air available when you're transferring to this for the secondary fermentation. You don't want air to get into the fermenter with your beer as much as possible. That'll produce more off flavors. So what you want to do is get your fermenter, you fill it about half full or so with water, and then you put your sanitizing solution in there so you get the fermenter nice and clean. You're going to need your siphon, so you put your siphon in there, get that sanitized as well. And I'm just letting the water run from this fermenter to a bucket just to sanitize the inside of the tubing as well. So all the sanitized solution has to be touching the parts for about 2 minutes to actually do the sanitized work. After that's all out of the fermenter, I'll take it downstairs and we will transfer from the primary to the secondary. Remember also to sanitize another stopper. In this case, I will just be using the same stopper that's in my primary, and I'll re-sanitize it right before I put it on to this fermenter. And then this fermenter will sit for about 2 weeks until the bottling process. Okay, while you're getting ready to transfer, I've got the 2 carboys right next to each other. You carefully take out the stopper and the airlock out of your primary. You want to be very careful not to induce as much oxygen as possible. Like I said, that's going to produce off flavors. So stick your poly tube from your siphon all the way down to the bottom so it doesn't splash. And then stick your siphon in the top of the fermenter here. You don't want to stick it all the way down in the bottom. That will get you some of that sediment that you're trying to get rid of. So you want to just stick it about halfway down in your fermenter and then start your siphon process and hold it while you're siphoning and just slowly work it down until all the clearer beer without the sediment is transferred over. Now you can see that most of this is siphoned down all the way to the trub now. And there's about 4 inches left in the top of the secondary fermenter. The less oxygen the better, but you want a little bit of headspace for expansion. So now we'll take our airlock that we've been sanitizing, fill it up to the level of water that it needs. Again, this can be sanitized water, it can be whatever water you want it to be, preferably the sanitized water. And then stick it on top of the carboy. You want to be careful that it doesn't go, the stopper doesn't go inside. So the stopper's on there, airlock's on, and it's ready to go through secondary fermentation for about another 2 weeks. After that, we will bottle. I'll create a third video on the bottling process, but this is the transfer to secondary from the primary. All we have left to do is go clean our primary fermenter, which I'll just go clean with some PBW. You can get this at any brewery shop or online. It works very well to take all the excess, build up off the primary. You don't even really need to scrub them anymore after using the PBW. Okay, to clean the first carboy, what I use is just, like I said, PBW, and then I put about 4 tablespoons into the fermenter, and then filled it with hot water. I would run as hot as water as you can, and then just let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then after 20 minutes you'll shake it up. All this stuff here on the side will come off and it'll be clean as new, ready to go for your next batch.